When you have one recipe that you can whip up in about 5 minutes, uses simple ingredients, and can be served as a cold dip with vegetables, a hot dip with crackers, or turned into little pinwheel sandwiches, your entertaining just got a whole lot easier. Welcome to the Salted Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today we are going to make a simple dip or spread recipe. It is, oh my gosh, so delicious, and you can make it into so many different things, which I'm going to get into a little bit later in the video. But first things first, it is easier to do in a stand mixer. However, you can use a mixing bowl and electric hand mixer. That's fine. And if your cream cheese is soft enough, you can even do it by hand. First thing you want is 2 blocks, which is 8 ounces each, so a total of 16 ounces of cream cheese, full fat, okay? It's going to make a better dip. And you want those room temperature. That's super important. If it is too cold, it's not going to whip up smooth, okay? So we're gonna put this right into the bowl of our stand mixer. All right, next thing going in will be the artichokes. And I wanted to talk about these before I get the mixer going so I don't have to talk over the mixer. This is one 14-ounce can of artichoke hearts that are drained. You do not have to do anything else to them. We're gonna throw them in after we start to get the cream cheese softened. The other ingredient that I add in, it's totally optional in this dip, is water chestnuts. And it's one 8-ounce can of water chestnuts that are drained. I've done this both ways, so it's either way it works great. You can put them onto your cutting board and just chop them up a little bit, or you can put them right in and let the mixer chop them up. If you let the mixer chop them up, they are going to be in bigger pieces, so that's just a matter of preference. I'll probably go ahead and chop them up a little bit before I put them in. All right, the last ingredient is spinach, of course, because you cannot have spinach artichoke dip without spinach. And I am using frozen chopped spinach that I thawed, and you can do it a couple of different ways. So you can thaw your spinach right in the bag or in the box that it comes in from the freezer section of your grocery store and put it in your refrigerator the day before you want to make the dip. But if you're anything like me and you forget to do that, because that's what I forgot to do last night, you can also do a quicker thaw by dumping the package into a colander and then running some cold water over it and just sort of breaking it up. It's not going to matter. I mean, it's already chopped, so it's already going to be broken into little pieces, so that doesn't matter. And then let it sit and let it drain. Now, super important, even though you've let it drain, you still want to press it. You're gonna get a lot more liquid out. You can press it with something like this, a spatula or something, or you can squeeze it with your hands, whatever you prefer. But get as much liquid out of this spinach as you possibly can. That is super important, or your dip is gonna be runny. Okay, I'll get to the seasonings after we whip up this cream cheese. So on the stand mixer, I'm gonna go on low to start, and then I'm gonna increase it to medium speed. All right, that looks like a good consistency for the cream cheese. It is nice and smooth, it's not lumpy, and now we can add in the rest of the ingredients. So I just roughly put a knife through these just to kind of roughly chop them. You don't have to be precise. Don't sit here and dice them. Just go through them real quick with a knife and they'll be fine. Throw those into the bowl, then throw in your artichoke hearts. So I don't dump these all over the counter. I'm gonna lift that up, see if I can manage to get them all in the bowl. There we go. All right, now for the spinach. I wanna show you how dry it should be, okay? So whether you just press it or squeeze it with your hands, it's gonna be super dry, okay? So that will keep your dip really nice and thick and delicious. Otherwise, it'll just get runny. All right, so 12 ounces of the spinach thawed and drained, and a little extra squeeze. And then put that in to your mixing bowl. Okay, now let's talk about the seasonings, which of course you can vary depending on how you want to make the dip. I use 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. And it really does add something, okay? I know it seems like such a small amount, but it really does add something. And then the spice blend that I'm using is 1 teaspoon of fine grind sea salt, or you could use kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half of a teaspoon of pepper. And then 5 shakes of your favorite hot sauce, which mine happens to be Cholula. That is about 1 teaspoon. I've measured this, believe it or not. So 5 shakes, 1 teaspoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. Now you can add more or you can omit it, depending on how spicy or how mild you want your dip. This will not add any spice to it. This just adds a ton of flavor. I've made it with and without the hot sauce, and I really recommend trying it out. All right, now we're gonna go on low speed. And once it starts to come together, go up to medium speed, because that's gonna help break up those artichokes. All right, it's looking good. We're almost done. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and then just give it another quick mix. And then I'll show you all the different ways you can serve it. It is so delicious. You're gonna love this one. And you know, when you're entertaining or you're going to a party and you want to bring something, bringing a cold dish is so much easier than bringing a hot one. And this dip is as delicious cold as it is hot, I promise. And we're done. That's it. That's all there is to it. So easy. This recipe will make 4 cups of dip, just so you know. And I'm gonna put about 3 cups in there. And I'm gonna set this to the side because we're gonna use it for our pinwheel sandwiches. All right, cold dip version with a little teeny tiny vegetable bowl. And let me show you one other thing, because I think these are so beautiful and they are so delicious. Use a cocktail tomato or a cherry tomato and take out the center here. Just run a little knife around, kind of pop out the center. All right, and then take some of your dip and put it right in there. And I will say that you should refrigerate this dip for about 2 hours before you serve it. It just allows all the flavors to go through. But if you're in a rush, you can serve it like this. All right, so this is a 10-inch flour tortilla. I did not make it, I bought them from the store. Nice and soft, have them at room temperature. You don't want them cold when you go to roll. And we take about 1/2 cup of the cold dip and spread it out evenly. And I usually leave a little bit at the edges undipped, so to speak, so I don't take the dip all the way to the very edge. And I'll show you why in a minute. That one's kind of closer to the edge, but I'll show you on this side. So I leave about 1/4 inch. All right, that looks pretty good. So spread that out. And then starting from the part where the dip is closer to the edge, you're just gonna roll these up and roll them nice and tight, okay? Just keep rolling. As you roll, the dip sort of advances forward. So by the time you get to the other edge, your dip will be going all the way to that edge. And then it acts like the glue to keep our little, well, now it's a tortilla roll, but in a minute it's gonna be called a pinwheel sandwich. Where that name came from, I guess, I don't really know, but because they look like little pinwheels. All right, so see what I mean? And then just sort of squeeze and clean that edge up a little bit, whether you use a knife, a spoon, your finger, whatever you want. All right, now you can cut these edges off before or after you refrigerate your roll up, so to speak. Usually I will just take my knife and go straight down to get a nice clean edge, and then I snack on this side. And do that on the other side too, so that you have nice clean edges to serve. And then you want to wrap this in plastic wrap. And then roll. And I'm trying not to get it in the little bit of mess on my cutting board here. So spread that out and then roll, and keep it nice and tight when you roll it up. Twist the ends to keep it airtight and pop them in your refrigerator, because you're probably going to make several of them. Pop them in your refrigerator for at least 2 hours, but overnight is even better, okay? And then we can slice them up and we'll have beautiful little pinwheel appetizers. All right, there we go. Now we have the cold dip that you can use with vegetables. I particularly love it with carrots. You can just dip the carrot right in. Delicious. Cucumbers are really good too, and so are peppers. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Or if you want to make little sandwiches, these are so easy and they are so delicious. You can make them ahead of time. Cut them though just before serving for the best texture and everything. Oh my goodness. They are so good. Oh my gosh. Use a very sharp knife to slice those up when you get them out of the refrigerator, and wipe the blade off in between each cut so you get a really nice clean slice. And now, if you want a really delicious warm dip, you just have to bake that dip in the oven with a combination of your favorite cheeses. I used a combination of Monterey Jack, smoked Gouda, and Parmesan, and I baked at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And then I like to serve the hot dip with either freshly baked bread or your favorite cracker. But look at this. Oh my gosh. It smells amazing. And I know it's gonna taste amazing. I hope it's not too hot. Wow. All of them are delicious. I could not pick a favorite. So whether you want cold with veggies, pinwheel sandwiches, or hot with crackers or bread, or make little individual finger appetizers with cherry tomatoes and the artichoke and spinach dip, you just can't go wrong. One recipe, one dip, but you can serve it any which way you like, or do what I did and make a little of each one. Enjoy.